Hey, so I just wanted to do a video on what it means to be a professional, I think, in this world. We human beings have political interests. And what I mean by political interests are self-interests. That's what I mean when I say political interests. They're self-interests, for the most part. When you're advocating politically, typically, you're advocating for yourself. Now, you could be advocating for somebody else's interests, and that could be your political interests, but it's not typical. So most people advocate for themselves politically. I think that's fair. But when you're at work, when you're engaged in professional trade, there's not really room to advocate for yourself so much. You are an advocate for your customer. You are a representative of your employer. In my case, that is one man. The customers that I advocate for, what I'm doing at work is I'm thinking what is really in their best interest, and I'm attempting to advise them on that. I'm not telling them what I think is in my best interest as a service tech. Now, sometimes I might when those paths intersect. So there are systems out there that have really low failure rates. And I like that because I don't get a lot of after-hour service calls. So I might recommend to a customer what I feel is the most dependable system, what is the most efficient system, what is the cheapest system, and allow them to choose what sort of thing is the most important to them. I may use things like the tone of my voice or facial expressions or hand gestures to emphasize certain points or to de-emphasize certain points. But what I'm not doing is attempting to mislead the customer in my political interests. What I'm attempting to do is guide the customer. Seriously, it's not necessarily, and none of it is really in my interest. What I'm really attempting to do is to think about what's in the customer's best interest. Now, there are people out there that I love, and there are people out there that are my direct competitors. Now, I don't want my competitors who are competing for my political interests to be more powerful than me. I don't. It's not in my interest for that to happen. But because I'm a professional, I would never, ever undermine one of my customers' power for my political interests. And by that I mean things like damaging their equipment to cost them money, things like charging them exorbitant amounts of money to disenfranchise them of their power, of their money. I wouldn't make felonious recommendations in the interest of wasting their time. I wouldn't, no matter how much their political interests conflicted with mine, because I'm a professional. That's the truth. Now, there are people out there who I won't smile at. Like, in a million years, I won't smile at them. And that's because of lack of respect. But there's a difference between not respecting someone and not being a professional myself. So there are customers out there that I'll go and I will be a robot to. I will just be like, look, this is the problem with your system. You got this, an option. What would you like to do? Well, that's a cute story, but what would you like to do? I appreciate that position, but what would you like to do? These are your options. So I'm kind of a jerk, right? And then there are other customers out there that'll be like, look, this is one option, this is another option. This is what I have in my mom's house, this is what I have in my cousin's house. So it's a little bit more like flashy and personal, but I feel like that's kind of my choice as a human being. I'm giving the customers the same recommendations at the same prices. Some of them I'm just smiling and kind of interacting more with, and other ones I'm just kind of like, look, man, it's your choice. What do you want to do? But I'm not charging some customers more than others, and I'm not out there damaging equipment or making felonious recommendations to disenfranchise my competition. The reason being is I pride myself first and foremost on being a father, and secondly on being a professional. I think that's what a professional is. Separating your political interests from your craft. It's important.